I lost. Well, if I lost there, maybe I can win somewhere else. That's why I've recruited my boys, Mike Prebosi and Rod Allums Jr., along in this video face phone voice call because I need a ticket for this mandatory payout pick six at Northfield Park. You say every year when November comes around, you go to like a department store, you go to some Denny's, and then up above the head yourself, you hear these Christmas bells ringing, and you go, "It's too early. It's too early for a gift. It's too early for gift time." But the biggest gift of all is happening in just a couple hours, starting in race 9 here at Northfield Park. A $150,000 carryover in this 20-cent single six. Again, because it's a mandatory payout, we could see pools of way more than 200,000, more than 300,000, more than 400,000. Rod, I think we could see like $1 million pool.
It's quite possible, especially being Black Wednesday. I really think this pool's going to go way over the estimated pool of 400,000. I'm thinking closer to about 600 or 700.
And in this week of colors, because Black Friday is also coming up, today being Black Wednesday, yesterday Blue Tuesday, there was my coin, have some numbers to go over. Trust me, that segue worked. This ninth race starts the pick six sequence. Again, it's a 20-cent minimum, so combinations can be endless, but that also means more of you out there have a chance to win it, which is both unfortunate, at the same time fortunate, betting into this kind of pot. Non-winners of 2 or non-winners of 3 going for a claiming tag of $15,000. It's a $7,000 purse. Field of 9 going postward. Rod, I'm going to start this off with you because you're an Ohio boy. You're familiar with Northfield. Take us through this race and also just how you're handicapping this track in general because it's a unique half mile.
Well, it is. The turns are big at Northfield. You got short stretches, and
I thought it was the other way around. I thought
no,
it was long stretches, tight turns.
no,
How are they flying turns?
because they're big turns. You can go faster through the turns because they're not tight.
Oh, that's what they meant. Oh, okay. I,
So, but this first leg is very wide open. I think this is the most wide open leg of the entire sequence. I'm 5 deep, using the middle of the pack here: 3, 4, 5, 8, and 9. D8 obviously starts from the outside, the 9 from the second tier, so you got to keep that in mind. But Urban Buzz from the 8 hole is kind of a fade here. He's had 2 seconds in a win his last 3 starts, but he draws outside, negative post switch. He's not going to be able to get that 2 hole trip again, I don't think. And it just makes the entire race wide open. Several different horses you can play here. And the long shot to start the sequence, the 4 Monster Miles, second time Lasix, big angle for me. I use that one based on that factor alone. And I think if you make it through this leg, you have a decent chance of making it to the final leg.
I expect to hear you saying that after every leg. As for you, Mike, how do you open up this pick six?
I agree. It's wide open, 4 deep. I'm going to use the 2 though, Rod. I'm surprised you didn't use that one. Drew inside with Aaron, and showed a lot of speed last time from the 6 hole. Got an early lead and then hung together. Was bet there. A lot of times horses that break their maiden will come back and win right back. And I like the post for that one, especially with the early speed. The 3 is a definite use off the last 2 starts. I agree on the 4 also. The horse got first Lasix last time and a different driver. Had some goofy dates and kind of odd lines. I think that, if you look back to October 2nd, that was a pretty decent line here. He's done well on sloppy tracks. This horse has 6 lifetime wins, so that's a use for me also. And then the 8 Urban Buzz, 2 races where it looks like maybe the horse should have won and didn't. But 7 wins this year, 16 lifetime wins. This horse is supposed to be in the mix in this race. So 2, 3, 4, 8.
As for me, I'm 2 deep here. I agree on Jackpot. The horse broke his maiden in that most recent start, also getting an outside post compared to the start prior. 2 starts back, had an inside post, faded the second by 5 lengths as the odds on favorite, but now in the move up in class and seeming like he could get to the front again. Maybe he's able to go all the way because outside of the 3, I don't see a ton of late pace. Maybe except for the 6, Anastasia Rocky. You look back in those lines to early October. This horse was coming about the middle of the pack, going first over, second over, and sneaking his way into the competition late. So for a bit of a price, you might see Anastasia Rocky rallying into the mix late. I'm 2-6 to open up this pick six. Would take us into race 10, assuming we hit it. If we don't hit it, race 10 still happens. Non-winners of 1 or 10,000 lifetime. We got a claiming price here of $7,500 listed on, well, as the base. Most of these horses aren't going for $7,500. But Rod, we got maidens here on the small track, and you like who?
I like the inside here. The one PW Hulker gets Aaron Merriman and the rail. He's got early speed. He's going to be going. The only issue is he's 0 for 27 in his life. The 3 Sand Cutter coming off a really good second place finish. He's a dead closer, though, and he does have some gate issues. If he minds his manners, I think he's got a shot. And then the 4 Country Love, I think needs to be played. I'm not keen on using him, but it's second time back off the layoff. I think he's a use. And, again, it's going to be a really crappy night at Northfield. High winds, rain, snow mix. There's a lot of ways you can go with these young horses, so just be cautious in this leg. 1, 3, 4.
Mike, as a weatherman yourself, how do you take that information?
I don't know. I mean, I just it's hard to gauge how the track's going to be. The only good news is it's going to be later in the card here, so you're going to be able to watch 8 races before you kind of decide how the track's playing. So I think that's an advantage in some ways. I'm 4 deep in this race. I agree on the 1. But 0 for 27 has made 3,200 life. The only thing is the horse draws well and draws the best driver in the track. So if they're not trying here, I don't think that they're ever trying. Agree on the 4 also. This horse has Hoosier lines to fall back on. Had a acclimating start last time. I think the 7's interesting. This horse was favored last time after, a little bit of a drop there and had a tough trip, faded late. But, it's a 20% barn. You have a legitimate driver in a race where there's a lot of question marks, especially even on the inside horses. And then the 9's also used for me. Another horse, that's 0 for 34, that's, coming in from Northville. This horse, tried last time, rallied for third in a slower race, draws inside, draws a decent driver, 1-4-7-9.
Yeah, the Northville horses are tricky to take on this track in particular. Sometimes people take them expecting they'll drop a couple seconds because they're coming to Northfield, and sometimes they don't. It's really tough to gauge. Nonetheless, PW Holker does get a post switch, had post 9 and post 7 those last 2 starts, now gets the pylon post to potentially break his mate in his 28th start. It could definitely happen. To say the least. To say the most, how about Iconic Gesture for a bit of a price? This is another one that's gotten some bad posts in recent starts. Only 0 for 10. If we look back to the last time this horse had a good post, exempting last week, he finished third. And that was on October 16th. So this horse has had very little luck on the post front. Has a good mile 2 starts back from the second tier. Could get involved in a price, especially if the winds blow into all the other horses, except this one. That's how I handicap races. And I also tried the 7 Utah Bombay with Kurt Sugg in the bike. This horse was bet to be the favorite last out. Pulled first over, went backwards, though, in that race. That was only his second start, so you got to give him a bit of a break. Maybe he improves in his third start, does have to work from a tough post, but Suggy can get him going. That's a T-shirt that we're going to sell. Suggy can get him going. That's me in the 10th race, 1-2-7. Race 11, so non-winners of 3 or 20,000 lifetime, purse of $7,000. Again, 9 horses going postward here. And Rod.
3 deep here as well. Pretty much sticking inside again. The 1 Erie, Chris Lem stays on. He gets big time post improvement. The last 2 times he drew inside, he left, got away, close, sat there, and raced pretty well. So I think he's going to get a similar trip to those tonight. The 2 Miss Mini Missions, Ryan Stahl stays on. Got parked a mile last time, has early speed. I expect this one to be going again. And then the 5 Supreme Lady, you get the driver change to Kurt Sugg. I think this horse is definitely good enough. Definitely probably top 2 fastest of the race. And, I'm really playing this one off the driver change to Kurt Sugg, so I'm 1-2-5 there.
Mike, when you put 2 and 2 together, what exactly do you get?
I don't know. I get 4 deep in here.
Oh!
Yeah. The 3 Miss Bluestone,
Bang,
I think,
bang.
is a use off the last one. The horse shipped in, got a perfect trip and won at a price. This horse is 13 out of 19 in the money used for me. I'm surprised, Rod, you used no four. This horse has, some back class and back lines. If you look back at that October 23rd line, this horse went 57-3. This horse kicked 29-3 last time from, got the rail, but had an impossible really trip there. I think that one's a use. Agree on the five also, a must use, just, on class alone. A couple really tough, trips the last couple races. And, you get a driver switch on that one. And then the nine, Petra. This horse raced well last time, gets a driver switch here. And, when the horse stays flat, he's usually in the mix versus these 3, 4, 5, 9.
Okay, my turn. I used two horses. I used the one and the two. Now, what's great about Northfield Park is because it's a half-mile track and it's small. Those happen to be some of the best posts on the gate, aside from posts 4 and 5, which I don't know what business they have doing as well as they do. It's not really of my concern, but the 1 and 2 have the shortest distance to get to the pylons and some other benefits. Erie, as Rod mentioned, has had some bad posts. Enters here with the good post. Last time we look back to October 29th, this horse got a pocket trip, which she could certainly work from this spot and potentially capitalize again. And Ms. Mini Missions enters off a mile where she parked first over from post 8. Now she gets to draw inside, and she showed that she has some go last out, but parking the mile. So I just have to wonder what happens to her if she doesn't park the mile. These are great questions to hedge your bets on. 1-2 for me in race 11. Race 12 is a claiming event. It's part of the progressive claiming series, where you can buy a horse and get insured for free. $9,000 purse, 9 horses going postward.
That's not true.
What do you mean it's not true? Why is it called the progressive series? Are you saying that when they
the
go
price of these horses progressively goes up?
Oh, that's what they mean? I thought it meant that the horses were pro-choice. Okay, never mind. Rod, in this race, you have a 6-5 morning line favorite in Anarchy Hanover. I imagine a lot of people are centering their tickets around.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to single this horse. And I don't blame them. I mean, this horse definitely plays in here. He's got an inside post. He's got Aaron Merriman for a good trainer, Mark Hedworth. There's no reason not to have this horse on your ticket. But outside of him, I also go to a long shot in the 2, Stanhope. This is first start for Todd Luther, who's been on fire recently. And horse coming from Rosecroft, I think you got to respect. You look down at his lines way back in September and August. He was racing at Ocean Downs, and he showed speed over at Ocean Downs. So I expect this horse to be really good tonight and possibly even make the lead early on. So I'm 1-2.
Mike, as for you, you see a horse like Anarchy Hanover dropping from a real high class into a claiming race. Does that concern you?
Not really, because this horse is kind of, he just won numbers of 1,500 last 4 October 16th. So, this horse I think bounces around claim level, class levels. 1-2 back numbers of 27.5. Just that numbers of 5,500 is a little too high, and then that's the problem with horses like this is they get a little bit too much money on their card, and then they struggle at those upper levels. This is kind of a perfect spot for him, and I would think that he's gonna be a very short price in the race. I'm gonna use the second one also, and that's the 5 Mustang Tom. Just won numbers of 4,000 last 4. It's had 2 starts from outside posts. This horse has 14 wins the last 2 years. This horse fits in, I think, at this level and, has a chance to upset the favorite 1-5.
I agree on Anarchy Hanover. Outside of that, I throw on a 20-1 morning line yet again and some power. After this horse won at Batavia, they shipped him to Northville, where he raced against slightly tougher competition. 2 starts back, finished second going first over, then went a good trip from off cover in his most recent start. So I wonder if moving to Northfield from Northville, if this horse can somehow get involved from a closing spot in the event that the speed does not hold, like Stanhope over at Rosecroft sometimes faltered on the lead. Anarchy Hanover sometimes folds, albeit a lot of the time it's because he's traveling too much ground and he has the least amount of ground to travel from the pylon post. Conjecture aside, I'm still 1-6 here in race 12. Race 13, the penultimate part of the Northfield 6th. It's numbers of 2,700 in their last 4 starts, purse of $5,500 here. And this time around, Rod, yet again, 9 horses.
Yep, and I'm sticking inside again. The 1 TC's Happy Times. Second start back off the layoff. And you get Ryan Stahl and the rail. I think that's plenty enough reason to use this horse. And then the 3, here's Jolene. You know, Chris Lem stays on the drive. This horse has been second the last 2 starts and has early speed. So I expect similar tonight against very similar to what this horse has been racing against. And there's enough horses in here that just aren't winning right now to use this one, and you're going to get a decent number on him as well, so or on her as well. So 1-3 for me.
Oh, Mike, do you like those numbers? They sound good to you?
I agree on the one. I think this horse, raced well enough off the bench. I mean, this horse was off, since May, and got away well last time. Just got tired. Now you get a catch driver, draws inside. This horse is supposed to win. The only other horse that I'm keying the one, but I think the 2 is very interesting. Has been racing at better levels and closed last time. So if you want to double the ticket, use the 2 there.
What is supposed to win? That's information that I'd like to know. But I think the one could also lose, and I think that's where the supposed clause comes to play. Outside of the one, I take a big shot. How about the 8, Valley Glider? This horse, 3 starts back, kind of struggled from post 7, but it was racing in those late closer series. This time around, he's not in against those horses. Those are probably horses that are more fit for those classes for higher purses, and also really didn't take much play. Outside of that, sometimes he seems to find his way into the mix. And at 25 to 1 morning line, I've seen weirder things happen at this track because, after all, this is Northfield Park. So outside of that, then also the 9 Monarch Bauer, adds Lasix, makes his first start since September, enters off a decent qualifier, will be trailing the 1 horse. So if the 1 pushes away, the 9's instantly guaranteed a spot. And maybe he has a bit more since going on layoff, because the addition of Lasix makes me think he needed the time off. His lines showed that he needed the time off, so he's coming back with some fresh legs. Maybe that does him some good. I'm 189 in leg 13. Leg 14 then is the last leg of the pick 6. I forgot because there's so many races in a pick 6. There's like 12 of them. This one is the non-winners of $1,500 in their last 4 starts. Purse of $4,000. Rod, how do you cap it?
2 deep here. The 7 Great American. Aaron Merriman drives for the second time. He 2 moved out of the post 8 last week. Second start back off the layoff, and just got beat in 154 flat. Raced very, very well there, and those were fast fractions too. So I expect this horse to put in another really good effort. He might have to 2 move again, but I expect him to be right there. And then the 9, Jux Livin' My Dream, gets a trainer change. And Sophie won a race on Saturday night, and her barn has been red hot as well, batting 370 on the season. So no reason not to have this one on your ticket. And she's had success with this horse in the past too. So I do think this horse fits well and is going to get a nice trip from post 9. So 7-9.
Wow, Mike, by the sound of that, you better have the 9 on your ticket.
I agree on the 9. That's a horse as a use. I don't mind the 7. My problem with that horse is it's 1 for 28 life and draws an outside post. I'll use the 2 Amazing Chip. You get Simon Allard here. You get an inside post. This horse has had terrible posts its last billion races. I feel like this horse could get a closer trip, and with some of these outside horses with speed, could set up, I think, for a late type of move. So 2-9 to finish.
I agree on the 9. Outside of that, I use the 4 Bouncing Bro. This horse can show some speed, otherwise might just get away in a stalking spot. Sometimes shows a bit of go, sometimes doesn't. That line 3 starts ago, when he had enough pace to close into, is appealing. As this race is just going to be a matter of whether or not that pace is there for him. I see some speed to the outside that could materialize, so maybe that brings Bouncing Bro into the mix. Not, then Jux Livin' My Dream probably has the closest route to the winner's circle. So I'm 4-9 to cap my ticket, which makes my pick 6 go as follows. For 20 cents, I'm 2-6 with 127. Well, I'm actually 6 foot. I'm 2-6 with 127, with 1-2, with 1-6, 1-8-9 with 4-9. $28.80 for 20 cents. Mike, your ticket.
2-3-4-8 with 1-4-7-9, 3-4-5-9 with 1-5 with 1 with 2-9. It's 51-20.
And Ron.
3-4-5-8-9 with 1-3-4 with 1-2-5 with 1-2 with 1-3 with 7-9. It's $72.
All right, and with that, that does it for whatever the hell we just did. We capped the mandatory pick 6 at Northfield Park.
Bang, bang.
November 27th. For those watching today, that's today. It starts in race 9. Projected post time 8:40 p.m. The only guarantee we have is first race post is 6 p.m. and even that is a loose guarantee. So watch for this pick 6 to go to gate around 8:40 p.m. Eastern time, and 10? I think that's a good window to open for this pick 6 to potentially go. Yeah. Otherwise, races 9 through 14, $150,000 carryover in this mandatory payout pick 6. Projected pool could be over $400,000, even $500,000. I've been Ray Catolo, podcast host, which to other people translates to Loose Cannon. He's Mike Prebosi, Rod Allums Jr. And at this time of day, it's time to go get some num-nums. I'm